What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm beyond fired up. If you cannot tell, I seriously was counting down the hours, counting down the minutes for this interview with CJ Jones. He's going to be the co-host of the Aftermath podcast with Christopher Tenpenny, who you guys know have been on the channel before. He also is a member of Arrowhead Live. I love all the guys over at Arrowhead Live, so we had to get CJ on. What is going on, man? First of all, I appreciate you coming on to the show. We had a great conversation after, the last preseason game. Caleb fired up that post thing, and I was just in there. I may have took over, shouldn't have, but I was excited, man. What's going on?
What's good, man? Just been a crazy work week. So close to game day, bro. We're like over a week away. We're so close. So every day anticipation just builds, bro. But no, I'm hyped. I'm excited. All the cuts that came down. So it's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Heck yeah. Well, and I also saw that you're going to be at the first game.
Oh, yes. I know. So by the grace of God, I got tapped in. Some of my people took care of me. So
that's what's up.
I'm going to be in the building for sure. I'm excited.
Well, we're definitely going to have to meet up before the game. We'll find a way, and we'll definitely meet up. And because I definitely want to meet you for sure and talk to you in person. So my first question, though, man, I got to ask. Well, I'm going to have two right out the gate. What's your favorite barbecue in Kansas City?
Ooh, I don't know. Can I pick one? That's like hard. That's like an illegal question to pick one.
I got to.
Like a hierarchy. My family, like since I was born, we eat Gates all the time. So
okay.
That's like my go. If I had to pick one, just like go to, I would take to that one. After that, probably Joe's, Jack Stacks, then probably like Q39. Those are probably like one of my main ones. Slaps is really good. I need to tell everybody to start going there. Slaps is really underrated. So those are probably like my main ones.
Well, like you said, too, there's different tiers because I think also you can categorize the different types of barbecue. But
exactly.
I had to put you on the spot just to see which one you'd bring out first.
Oh, I can't forget LC's. LC's is fire, too. Don't forget LC's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we hit them. We hit them. So my second question is, which are you more hyped for? Were you more hyped for the new Kanye, or are you going to be more hyped and over the top for the new Drake, the new Drizzy album?
I would probably say I would probably be more hyped for the Kanye because I didn't see it coming. We knew because Drake said this album was supposed to be out in January?
Yeah.
And we're in like September now. So he's been kind of drawing it out. But the Kanye one kind of was because when the rumor first came out, they said he was dropping an album. I'm like, bro, I don't believe it. Until he actually started saying I'm having listening parties. I'm like, oh, he really is dropping an album. So I didn't believe him at all. So and I love both of them, but I would probably lean toward more of Kanye. And I love Drake. I've been loving his comeback season, but I think I like Kanye a little bit more, but I love both of them, but definitely the Kanye album. I thought it was great. It got an 8 for me. It was fire.
Yeah. I definitely like some of it, but I'm a huge Drake fan, and I think how he staged this because I saw somebody post on Twitter today. It's literally like he set it up as like a triple entendre for the title, even like he took it from a 9-month because of what he titled it. So it takes 9 months for a baby to be born.
Exactly. So 9 months or so with the cover.
Yeah, did you see? So like it was 9 months, September 9th. So the 9th of September. I don't know if you saw, he leaked it popped up on ESPN.
Yeah, Sports Center. I saw it with the little 9-3. I was like, what's that?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, man. So I'm hoping I'm ready for it, man. I'm super pumped. So we got that to listen to tomorrow night, and then gonna be doing some Chief stuff. So that's why I had you on here, was for the Chief stuff. But I was excited to ask you those questions, man. The first thing I do want to ask you was there anything that really surprised you that a lot of people were overly concerned with, I guess, Cornell Powell being cut. Some people were kind of, I guess, caught off guard by the Tim Ward thing. Was there anything that really kind of you were like, dang, man, I wish we could have either kept him or did something with him?
The Tim Ward one definitely probably hurts. I think that one probably connected with a lot of people. The Powell one kind of, as we watched him progress through camp, through the preseason, not getting a lot of work as much as we thought he were. People were trying to come up with theories like maybe they're just trying to not expose him or not. I'm like, well, if they're not giving him the ball, then something's going on. So definitely glad they brought him back on the practice squad because I think Powell could definitely be a good receiver, and you need to have depth. But the Tim Ward one definitely shocked a lot of people. I think most people thought he was going to make this team, especially with the uncertainty we have at the end, especially we cut Taco, and then Frank's situation is still up in the air. It's kind of cloudy. I thought definitely Ward made the team. So I know Tyron got into it with somebody on Twitter today about the little transaction. So yeah, you definitely can't never count Spags and Andy. If they made a decision, they thought that was best for the team. So those guys, and plus Brett, they're doing what's best for the room, and they think that's what's best for the team. So it definitely sucked to see him go, just to see him get better.
Yeah.
From all the work he's put in from college to here, and just see his progress and go through camp. He's made such a big jump, and he really impressed me because I didn't expect that much from him this camp.
Yeah.
So for the ball out the way he did, and me and Caleb and Jordan and Marcus, we all went up to St. Joe and got to see some of the guys in practice. Even though that wasn't a padded day, I could just see how many reps he was getting, and that's just how well he was playing, using his hands and getting off blocks. So it was definitely sad to see him go for sure.
You know, I saw Caleb post on Twitter the other day. He let the play develop, then singled him out by, you know, putting the highlight box on him. Mm-hmm. And his freaking motor off the snap
is bro.
What caught me. Yeah, his jump was pretty incredible. And you know, I think when all this is said and done, part of this made me forget about Frank Clark. As crazy as that sounds, like we've seen him in camp, but like we really haven't seen him in the preseason. We know that there's some lingering things that are going on with him. It honestly, like personally, I just was like, is Frank Clark even on this team? And I mean, that's crazy. So, I mean, because we were all in on like Tim Ward, and we're starting to see Kando come around, and you know, Mike Dana is doing some things too that is in and out of you know, the DN spot and then a little bit of D tackle too, I'm hearing. So yeah, I was excited for that. I think the one that bothered me was Keys. I like Keys, man. Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah, and that I seen him getting picked up by Indy. That kind of, I was like, man, there's a reason. I mean, he's good. I just think there was a lot of people ahead of him that just were always going to get that better opportunity than he was. Nice. But yeah, man. And then I see we went out and got another corner to add to the practice squad. So they're getting some things assembled. I think they've been doing some research for sure. But man, I was going to ask you. So with obviously the schedule, the way it lined up and everything, is there a specific game that you're like super hyped about? Like, you're obviously the opener is going to be incredible, but is there a game on this schedule that you're just like, I gotta watch? I mean, every Chiefs person gotta watch every Chiefs game, but like there's one that you have highlighted that you're like, this is the one.
They got so many good matchups this year, and I'm glad most of them are at home. But I would say my number one matchup this year is, and I don't know why we play them every year, because they're not a divisional opponent, but it's that Tennessee game, bro. That Tennessee game is going to be so – Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown going against our defense, and then you flip it to the other side with like all of our weapons versus their newly improved defense is what they're hearing at a camp. That's like the ultimate – that's like good on good, matchup on matchup, because our passing game with all of our ability to get open, their run game and play action game where it's that. So who's the coordinator is going to have the better week or have the better game plan? So that's probably the matchup I'm most excited about. And we have so many good ones on the schedule, but that Tennessee game gets me hyped. I'm trying to go to Nashville. I'm trying to figure out a way I can get down there. So
yeah, it's a quick drive, man. It's just getting the tickets would be the thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a quick drive, man. That, you know, that would be pretty sick. I know I've had a few family members make that trip, and they say it's not terrible at all, even to go to the game. Yeah,
I went to college in Alabama, so we drove through Nashville all the time.
Oh yeah,
probably about like 8 hours, if that, maybe like 9. So it's not that bad. So
yeah, you get a little halfway break and then keep on plugging.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Well, I was gonna ask you too. What are you excited for on this offense besides obviously Patrick Mahomes? What are you looking forward to the most?
Just the fact that we're versatile now. We can do a lot of different things. So shout out to my boy Jody. I'm happy he made the roster. I've been rooting for that guy for so long. So that's my dude. Man, I know Jody. That's my guy. So I've been rooting for Jody for a long time. So I'm happy to see he get the recognition he deserved. But I play tight end in college, so that's my wheelhouse. So I'm just glad we can do so many different sets. We can go 12 personnel, 13 personnel. If we want to go 21, 22, whatever we want to do, we can just – I know EB now has more – not as if to say the play call sheet was shrink. Now it's like expanded even more. Because when you get into that red zone, I think a lot of us Chiefs fans, you probably included, would kind of frustrated how we never really showed any kind of physicality. Mm-hmm. So like finish plays with a run, it's always trying to beat people with jet sweeps and quick passes and shovel passes. And that stuff's cool. And having the ability to do everything works. It keeps defense on their toes, but there's nothing like just putting your hand in the dirt and just smashing somebody, just running their face over and just getting in the end zone. So to see that we can actually run the football now with the new linemen in Orlando and Tooney and Creed has been balling, and Trey's going to be the steal of the draft. I think we've all said that. Even people outside of Chiefs Kingdom can agree. But yeah, the tight end group excites me a lot, man. Noah, Jody, Blake, the Belldozer came back, Kaiser, and then Trey with Trav, obviously. So just to have, we have so many different body types. We got tall guys, fast guys, guys that can block, guys that can do both. It's just having that ability to switch it up. Because when you go into the green zone and the red zone, when you have those 6'5", 6'6" guys, everybody thinks they're coming into the inline to block. And when you can, like, because Andy does a lot of these things where you bring in two tight ends on the inline and a wing set, split them out. Yeah. Or split them out, then bring them back in. So as a D coordinator, how are you going to play it? Do you want to play more DBs and they're going to run on you? Play more linebackers? Okay, I don't think you've got enough linebackers to cover Jody and Trav. But that's to go along with Tyreek also. So it's just having that versatility makes you that much more dangerous in the green zone and red zone. And honestly, it makes our offense unstoppable, especially if it's like they're slinging it. So
for sure, man. And I'm excited to just see like the different, I guess, positions he has guys lining up. Like, is he going to have two tight ends potentially in the backfield with Mahomes? Because we know there's times where he likes to put Kelsey back there. They do that quick shovel pass and he just goes right up behind the center and the right guard a lot of the time. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Plus we know Blake Bell was a quarterback. Maybe they do some crazy maybe they do some crazy stuff where he's like, and Kelsey was too. So maybe
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be very interesting. And it's like, I bet their playbook is like this big, man.
Bro,
like,
especially the red zone playbook. Oh my God, it's probably a book by itself.
Yeah, so I'm excited, man. I think that there's going to be so many cool things to see. With that being said, though, I was going to ask you, do you think that we're going to see some numbers go down at all with some of the guys like Kelsey Hill, just because we are more versatile?
I mean, if you told Reek or Trav that, they would tell you in front of a camera, they would say, yeah, as long as we're winning. But as a player, you want to get your numbers. But I mean, as long as the day, we always want to win, obviously. But at the end of the day, we do want to prolong their careers. Like Travis had 5,000 yard seasons in a row, bro. That's first time ever. Like that's impressive, bro. So obviously, you want him to keep it up and do it, but you also want to don't want to kill his body every single year. That's why we're trying to get Noah involved so much and get Jody involved and bringing Blake Bell back, because they don't want Trav to have to do every single thing and play 90% of the snaps every single year. You want to make sure he's on the field a lot, but to give him some reps all the time. Okay, Noah, go get this first down. Jody, run this option route. So Trav doesn't have to take all those hits over and over, because the stuff adds up. Yeah. So obviously, I think Reek's gonna do what Reek does. Tyreek's gonna do what he does. Like our receiving core, nobody really came in is gonna threaten his numbers. He's gonna do it. And if obviously people keep playing him one-on-one like Minnesota did, I still don't get why they did that. I like Breeland too, but not like that. So yeah, I don't see any numbers really going down. If anybody's numbers will go down, I would say Trav. He's still gonna get 1,000 yards, but he's not gonna have like the record-breaking year he just had. I don't see him doing that. And just because we don't need him to do that, because you have so many other guys that can make plays on this offense. Mecole should step up. Clyde's gonna get a bigger share this year. D. Will came in. Jared McKinnon they added. So it's just going to be more of a collective unit. So guys' numbers are going to go down, but it's for the betterment of the team.
For sure, for sure. I'm excited to see Fountain, man. We can
run, bro.
We can see what he was capable of doing, and I think we're actually going to see him potentially start to surpass and climb up that depth chart, just because once he gets more comfortable and really is out there and knows he's out there every week, man, I can see some really good things from him. What do you think about him?
I like Fountain a lot. I mean, shout out to him, bro. I know he's been grinding to try to make the squad too. So I think everybody universally in the Chiefs Kingdom was happy for him and Jody, because those are two guys that they put in the work and we seen it, and now they got their respect. So shout out to Fountain. No, he's a guy, bro. He's an athletic freak. I know a lot of my friends that are fans of other teams liked him a lot, and they were hoping that he wouldn't make the team so they could pick him up. So everybody had their eyes on Fountain a lot through the preseason. He always made good catches on the outside. He can run. He's a big guy. So, and like you said, man, if he gets the right opportunity, no disrespect toward Mecole and D-Rod, we love those guys. But if the mistakes keep piling up, everybody know it's like a normal job. If you mess up, somebody gets replaced. It's just this life. So if Fountain gets that opportunity, we've seen what he does when he plays with the third and the second stringer. So imagine if he got a chance to play with the ones next to Tyreek, next to Trav, that would change a lot of things. So I'm with you, man. I'm hoping he gets the opportunity, because he's worked for it and he's been busting his butt for sure.
And I was going to ask you this too. Do you think, I mean, this might be kind of a silly question, but do you think other teams, fan bases like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Kingdom, rally around certain players like we did with Fountain, like we did with Fortson? Or do you think that this is something special that Kansas City is about, where we get attached to guys because it's literally year in, every year. Like we get one guy that you're like is on the bubble, and it's like all the fans are just rallying around this guy to make the team. And do you think most of them are like that, or do you think Kansas City's a special entity?
Chiefs Kingdom is definitely different. It's definitely growing a lot. I went to school in Alabama, so to see where it's from then and where it is now,
Yeah.
I graduated college in 16. I saw a lot of Chiefs fans, but now when I go around the country, I see Chiefs fans everywhere. Like I have cousins that live on the East Coast in like Virginia and DC, 'cause that's where my dad is from, and a lot of them are buying my home jerseys like
Yeah.
before they even think about anybody else. So Chiefs Kingdom is definitely growing. So the fact we won the Super Bowl, we went to back-to-back Super Bowls. The kingdom is growing every single year as if it was already big enough. Other fan bases, they definitely attach to players, but ours is probably a little more different because Kansas City is like, it's not a, for the sports world, we're considered a small market, but in general wise, I think we're like a mid-tier market. We're not big like Chicago or Miami,
Yeah.
but we're not like South Dakota, like Utah either. We're like in the middle. So for the sports world, we're considered a smaller market money-wise, but everybody loves the Chiefs just because I've seen people come in town and drive from Iowa, drive from Omaha, drive from Texas, drive from Minnesota, drive from Michigan, drive from Ohio. People love to come down here and watch the Chiefs play, whether it be in season or off season, because they just love. It's a sports city, it's a sports town, and we attach to our players because we see them doing regular things out in public, like shopping, doing things with their family and stuff like that. And they're all good. It's a real sports family here, so everybody takes care of each other. So I definitely think our fans attach more to players, probably a little more than other fan bases do, just because of the small market feel. You don't feel like you're like in a big pond. Everybody kind of like the ideals and like takes care of each other.
For sure. And the reason I kind of wanted to ask you that too is because we see when like Justin Houston was practicing with his Chiefs helmet on.
Man,
And I mean, I was right there with everybody else, man. I'm like, is this a sign? Is he coming back? And it's like, those are the types. Yeah. Yeah. And like, those are the types of things that like, I think people, that's where Kansas City, I think, special. Because if you went through that entire comment section, man, it was like, please come back to Kansas City. We want you back. Like, blah,
everybody
blah, blah.
loved Justin, man.
Yeah. And it's like, I just always was I was curious to think, maybe we are kind of just, we started to build together, mesh together, because we know we got something special going here, and this is our time. And I think Kansas City is special from a fan base for sure.
Oh, absolutely. You could just see it even when former players come back, like even at the Super Bowl parade, I saw Jamal Charles high-fiving fans. He talked to me for like 15, 20 minutes, just like a normal dude. He was hella cool. He came back. Dwayne Bowe came back, got his number retired. When all the former players come back, even when Dante Hall's in the city, everybody just sees him and throws up the X the whole time. So all the former players, like we all grew up on watching him, Priest, Trent Green does all the commentary for the game all the time. So all the former players, we just all love them, man. So it's just like it's a real family town, it's a real sports town. I see a lot of people moving up here for like other jobs, and they could just feel the energy and feel how people connect with this team and with this city, man. It's something special. It's growing every single year. I love it. I love being from here. I rep my city every time I go out of town. When I'm on the road or on the plane, you go see me in a Chiefs shirt or a KC gear, KC hat or something. I definitely, and I've seen a lot of people tell me nobody like reps their city harder. They're like as far as like Midwest cities like Kansas City, like when we're out of town, because they see it everywhere. So yeah, it's definitely a special city. And I think a lot of people more so agree with us, and they see it more when they come up here and they actually interact with the people and with the fans for sure.
Hell yeah, man. You're getting me hyped, man. I want to go run through a wall right now. I got a closet right over here that's nothing but Kansas City stuff. And like, I had to have a closet for that because I got so much of it, because I have to, man. I have to. So
the town got to.
Yeah. I'm ready to switch over to the defensive side, man. That's where I as a fan, I love the defense, man. I'm a defensive guy. Don't get me wrong, we are special with the offense, but there's something about a great defense for me that I love. So I want to talk to you about the linebackers, because we see Willie Gay with the foot stuff. We see Arrowhead Live actually being the ones that report that, which was amazing. But my thing with it is I've seen some people kind of throw around the idea that he's injury prone. Would you classify him to this point as an injury prone player? Or do you think some of this stuff is just kind of freak accidents, or they're just kind of things that will eventually get over? The only reason I asked you that too is because he had some injuries in college and then some other things as well. But Just what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously, like the rumors, people, the thoughts are going to creep into people's mind that he's injury prone. I'm like, well, this is only his second year. So
Yeah.
injury prone is kind of like, I think you have to get to like at least your third or fourth year. Can you get to a second contract? If you never get to that second contract because of injuries, then I think you can get that title. But he's still on his rookie deal. It's only his second year. I've had turf toe. It is not fun at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the more nagging injuries, but it's something he can deal with. He could definitely come back for. I know they put him on AIR, correct, to start the season. So he has to miss a minimum of like 3 games, 3 or 4. 3. So he could definitely come back for October. And if that happened, that'd be great. Nick Bolton's going to get a lot of playing time now to step up. And I saw him at camp. He's been getting his hands on a lot of catches and a lot of picks. So I definitely think he's ready for the moment. He's a guy, he's had the dot on his helmet when he was at Mizzou. So he's called the defense before. He's been in big moments. So I'm not really like worried about him having to step up. But definitely, Willie was my breakout player of the year for the Chiefs. Out of everybody on the team, he was my breakout player this year. The athletic ability, the speed, the tenacity he plays with, the explosiveness when he goes sideline to sideline. He was a guy I'm excited to see play this year. I know there was rumors going around this summer, just like Justin. I heard there was like rumors that Derrick Johnson possibly wanted to coach. So I was like, bro, if you're going to coach, you got to come back and coach Willie and get all them boys right. So definitely excited for this defense. I've been telling everybody most of the summer that the safety room is the deepest room on this team. We have so many guys in there that can play. Juan, Dan, obviously Tyron, Armani. It's just like they brought Jordan Lucas back. So there's just so many guys in that room that I trust on the field to do the right things. That we know they can play in the box, outside of the box, nickel, guys that can play deep third if they need to come down and play big safety or big dime. I know he uses Dan a lot for those. I really like our safety group this year. I think that's probably gonna be the best unit on our defense, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely expect a big year out of Chris Jones. If you had to give an over/under, how many sacks you think he's gonna get this year?
I'm going 20.
20. Woo! You saying 20? Oh,
I'm going 20.
The record then. You say 20? Yeah, over the record.
Yeah, I'm thinking 20. My low was 18, but I'm gonna sit 20 because I think that dude is literally got something that he's hungry, man. He is hungry, and like I think it's because there's 2 things for me. He's been doing all this stuff at D tackle, and finally they're like, "Okay, Chris, we want to see you play DN." And he's like, "Okay, you're gonna see me play DN. I'm gonna show you." Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why he's been taken on. And I think that's a big thing too, that we as people who analyze what's going on also realize he's making that offensive line even better. Like I think he's probably made that right side of what we're seeing with why did it just slip my mind? New right guard, Trey Smith.
Yeah, all those guys.
Trey Smith and like even we're seeing those guys like Lucas Niang, like he's putting pressure on those guys to become better and make them work harder because of how good he is. So yeah, man, I'm super pumped to see what he can do. And then he, like I said, he just made those guys 10 times better. But yeah, man, what do you got?
You have no choice. I mean, basically, like I expect a big year out of Chris. I think Vegas. I think the odds was on. I think it was around like 15 to 16. I think that's what it had it at. It may have changed since last time I checked it, but I definitely had the over. Especially because they're gonna move him around a lot. And then I think just like knock on wood, I don't want it to happen, but worst case scenario, if Frank had to miss game, that just put more pressure on Chris to rush the passer and to move him around a lot at 5 technique, 3 technique, head up 4, wherever Spags wants to put him, and him dropping the weight. He wants to probably get more sacks. As obviously, he says Sack Nation every time he gets a sack. So, hey, shout out to the Big Macs too. Yeah, I would definitely bet the over for sure. I'm thinking around like anywhere like 16 to 18 is definitely a good number for him. He's definitely good. And you can tell when he saw the top 100 list, tweeting out that's cute. So he's definitely a guy that's highly motivated. We all were pissed by the way we played in the Super Bowl because we obviously didn't put our best foot forward. Offense not scoring as many points and Chris getting a couple penalties. So guys remember all this. And you can see him in the interviews when Trav talks, when Chris talks, and Pat and Tyron. Guys, they use it as fuel. And you don't really got to motivate them. They know it all themselves. Like, coaches don't have to do a lot. They're really self-motivated. So I'm expecting a big year for the defense for sure.
Yeah. And do you think it's realistic to put them in, we'll say, top 10?
Top 10, that should be the goal. I would say at the beginning of the season, not right now, but the end of the season, it would not shock me for a top 10. We can definitely build to. I think the reason they wouldn't put us top 10 right now because of our corners. We got a lot of guys that are new to the team, so we're bringing in Mike Hughes. Snead is officially going to be our number one corner now, even though I knew they put him in the slot a lot because they probably trust his versatility to go either way. But we're going to see a lot of good. We're really going to see what our DBs are made of at corner. We're going to see a lot of good receiving cores. We play the Bills with Diggs. We play the Packers with Devontae Adams. We play the Cowboys with Amari Cooper and CD Lamb. I know the Browns run the ball a lot. Yep, exactly. Odell Beckham Jr. is back for the Browns, so he's going to be juiced up for the game. Julio Jones and A.J. Brown in that Titans game like we talked about. That's a lot of receivers. And we still got to go play the Chargers twice with Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert. So we play a lot of good receiving core this year. And the Steelers with Juju and Chase Claypool. So there's never going to be a boring week for the corners. So they got their work cut out for them every week. So and now they got these new rules with like you can't like cut linemen and stuff outside, like with like the tight end box now. So when you're like guards are pulling, so that's going to make a DB's job even harder because now you got to take on a lineman and then go cover a receiver instead of just like taking the easy way out. So it's definitely going to be a crazy year for the defense. They're like I said, if they're number 10 at the end of the year, Lucas, they earn that. Like they earn the ranking if they get to top 10 because there's no cake receiving cores on the schedule for sure.
Yeah, and that was my biggest, I was high on this secondary just because I think they have the capabilities of doing that. I get that, when you look at the corners, there has been a lot of injuries, but man, I tell you, I think that they're motivated too. Like they got to prove. I mean, Mike Hughes has a lot to prove. Baker's got to come back and prove that he's still got it. I think that these guys are hungry too, and Snead, obviously. Holy smokes, man. That's an awesome pick. Yeah. And, a guy that doesn't really get talked about a whole lot, and I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts, is Rashad Fenton, man.
I love Fenton. I love Fenton. Ask Caleb. That's my guy. I've been talking about Fenton for the past 2 years. That's one of the best finds Breton had.
See, why don't people talk about him as much? I love it because I like his physicality, man. That is a physical corner. And I love his aggressiveness too. Like I get, you can be over aggressive and get burnt sometimes, but man, his physicality and his aggressiveness, I absolutely have. I've been all aboard, his entire train the whole time, man. I think he's special.
He was one of the guys that when the contract talks were going on with Breezy and not bringing him back and him getting a contract with Minnesota, he was one of the guys I was like, bro, I think y'all don't realize how good Fenton is. I know he doesn't get a lot of the snaps and a lot of the reps as much as he should because you have guys like Snead who's in front of him. Charvarius is always solid. And obviously we just brought in Mike Hughes, but Fenton's always a guy. He's always available. He's there. He plays hard. He's physical. He tackles, which is one of the things I love for corners. So I definitely think he should get more play. I think this year probably would be his opportunity to break out. And you can just find a lot of diamond in the rough corners that turn into good guys. We did one with Snead. I think Fenton will be the next one in line. I think he just has to get the more reps in time. But he reminds me a lot of J.C. Jackson, the corner for the Patriots. A real physical guy, real technically sound. And just obviously the more reps he gets, the better he'll be. I think Fenton can make that jump along with Snead. He would be one of the corners I think that would be – he'll end up being one of our best corners by the end of the year. That's what I would think.
I like it, man. You're speaking my language, man. I love Fenton. I think that, man, I think he can provide a lot too. So I do have a question about this. Was there anybody that you thought should have been cut that wasn't cut?
Does Ben Neiman count? No, who did I thought that wasn't going to make the team? Honestly, I thought.
Well, my question is like, I've seen a lot of people complain about Dorian O'Daniel still being on this team. And
he can run, though. I don't know why he doesn't play. That was my problem with him.
See, and I've heard a lot with him, and maybe you can help me out with this. I hear a lot that he doesn't understand the defensive playbook.
I think it has to be that because it's not ability. He played at Clemson, bro, and he played a lot of snaps. He can run.
Yeah.
So, I've seen him on kickoff. I've even seen him get a little bit of time on defense. When he finds a player and he shoots, he can go. So I'm like, I know it ain't because you can't run and get off blocks. It's just here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the flip side why people think Ben Neiman's still on the team because he may not have the ability, but he gets it up here.
Yeah.
So Spags is going to trust you to be on the field. So I think obviously a lot of people would have been shocked if Ben Neiman wouldn't have been cut. I know a lot of people would like him to be cut, but I think he was probably one of the guys. I was kind of I know Devon Key. I know everybody was kind of like hard on him because he got burnt a lot, but I'm like, you're putting him against a lot of the number one receivers, and like he's just trying to get his feet wet. But I liked him a lot. So he was definitely a guy I thought that had an outside. I know he got killed a lot in games, and that's what kind of hurt his film. But he's a guy that I liked a lot on his college tape, and I liked him a lot in camp. Obviously, the games didn't help the job out a lot, but I just love him because that safety room is so talented, and there's so many good guys in there for him to learn from. He was a guy that I definitely, if I would have been a little soft on him, I wanted him to make the team, but I completely understand why they had to cut him.
I did too, and I was getting bashed for it, man. So I had to
yeah,
pull
I
back
know.
a
I'm
little
not.
bit.
Me too. I was defending him to all my coworkers. Talking about, oh, he'll be good. He'll be good. Next week he giving up touchdowns. I'm like, bro, stop giving up touchdowns. I was like, give him a play, but not the big play. Hey.
Dude, deflect one of them at least. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Get a PI, something.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I was hoping he would make the team. I was hoping they'd find a way to keep Keys, but I understand, man, we can't keep everybody, and that's just kind of the way it goes. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for the season. Is there anybody that you kind of have on your radar for like a breakout, like someone that maybe isn't like your necessary, like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, or even on the defensive side? Is there someone that you really have your eye on that you expect to kind of have that breakout year? I know you kind of said a little bit of Willie Gay, but anybody else?
Besides Willie, your boy, Saunders,
Okay.
Big K, shout out to the Lou, shout out Big K Saunders. I think he's gonna have a big year. I think he's I seen that Arizona game. We were down there, we were playing him, and I know he was mic'd up, and I watched the film, but I think he hungry this year. I like him a lot. I think he's gonna have a big year. Him, Wharton, Torsion Wharton, I think I said his first name. Yeah, I think he'll have a big year as well. I know that's Caleb's guy. Caleb loved Wharton a lot. I think that's a guy he's been talking up a lot for the past couple of months. So I think besides Willie Gay, who was the one I picked originally, but I know he's dealing with the injury, those would be the two guys that I would say. Saunders and Wharton would be the two that I think. Obviously Juan Thornhill, but obviously it's just staying. We already seen him kind of play, so we know what kind of player he is. Now he just has to stay healthy. But if I had to pick somebody non-Willie Gay, I would say, Saunders or Wharton. Those would probably be my two for sure.
All right. I got two final questions. My first one is going to be kind of regarding this first game because obviously we're both going to be there in person. Are you like, what matchups are you looking forward to? Is there anything specific for the matchups on the defense for the Chiefs going against that offense? Is there anything that they're providing that we could go against? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at our offensive line. They talk about the first game of the year. Welcome to the Chiefs. You get to have to go block Myles Garrett. Olivier Vernon is still there. Jadeveon Clowney. And I know they let go of Sheldon Richardson, but they brought in Malik Jackson, who was a D tackle for the Broncos during that Super Bowl team, and he played on that Jaguars team. So they brought him in. So talk about a week one, like you got this first group together and you got to go play probably the defensive player of the year. So that's got your work cut out. That would probably be obviously the obvious matchups, like our receivers versus their DBs, and obviously us trying to go against Kareem Hunt and that story, and then Nick Chubb. That would probably be my match of dominoes, our new offensive line, all these new faces against arguably the best pass rusher in football from the outside to go along with all the guys he has with him. So that's my matchup for the game that I'll have my eyes on a lot.
For sure, man. I'm looking forward to their linebackers against kind of everything we got because they obviously go get Anthony Walker from the Colts. They drafted the kid from Notre Dame.
Yeah, the Alco kid. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to get a little bit better in that linebacker group. I want to see kind of if Mahomes can still pick them apart because Anthony Walker, man, he really kind of came on being paired with Darius Leonard there, and
he was nice in Indy. He was
nice. So it's going to be interesting to see now that he's kind of that go-to guy. How he handles that situation too. But man, I as funny as it is, we always joked about putting the brown bag over your head for the Browns, but low key, man, I think that they're going to be a tough challenge that first game. That was my biggest thing is we do open against a very, very good football team if they can click. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be glad we're there in person to see what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my final question for you, man, is, and I was listening to Arrowhead Live's podcast, and let me pull it up real quick so I can quote it properly. I got to make sure I pull up the right one. Oh, okay. So it's the Not Just Another Sports podcast with Christian and Price. And they were kind of talking about Brett Veach and contracts. And so what I wanted to ask you is, and one thing that they really hit on is, do you think it's going to get to the point where we don't have enough money to give one of the big three. And when I say big three, we're talking Orlando Brown, we're talking the Honey Badger, and we realistically are talking about Tyreek Hill.
Mhm.
Do you think at some point they're going to be like, man, we just can't, we legitimately cannot afford all this?
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I got to follow up really kind of a part B to that once I hear what you say.
I would say it's definitely hard. That's the part of having a good football team. You can't keep everybody, especially when you start winning, because when you start hitting the market and your agent starts getting calls like Chiefs want you back, obviously, but if somebody else is going to offer you the bag and like 15-20% more, guys got families, guys got kids to take care of. So the Tyreek one is kind of interesting because we all know he's one of the best receivers in the league, and his first or his second contract with us was kind of like we got him at a discount because of the situation he had going on, because he was supposed to get 100 M's. And I think we ended up getting it for what, 60? I think that's what we got him for. So it was a major discount, which I'm sad for him because he earned that money. But as a fan, I'm happy because he got to stay here and we could build around him and we got to win. And I'm sure he was happy about that too. At the end of the day, guys want their money and guys want to get paid and win at the same time. It's just a hard balance. I know Tyrann Mathieu's agent has been working really hard with the team. If I had to like take a chance like a dart, I think the reason why the contract hasn't gotten done, probably because he wants a certain number and they want to keep him under a certain number. At the end of the day, if they don't announce that deal within like the next week or so, I honestly see him to play this season out on the last year of his deal. And I think everyone has to remember, and I say this a lot, next year the TV deals that the NFL made with and the cap is going to be at a record high next year. Like first time ever, like it's going to be through the roof. So guys are going to know, like, if I can sign now, it'll be better for the team. But if I sign next offseason, I can get more money. So, and obviously it's easier to negotiate with a guy one-on-one when he can only talk to you. But once that offseason hits, now he can talk to you plus all other 31 teams. So if I don't want to see any of those guys are going to go, but I definitely think Tyreek stays regardless because the offense is like, it's the juice. Like he brings that deep threat, that explosibility. He puts the fear in people's hearts when you have guys like him. So I think Reek's going to be here for sure. The Orlando deal, we could see how he plays this year because obviously if your play doesn't meet up to a certain standard, then guys can negotiate. I don't want to see Tyrann go nowhere at all. I want him back so bad, but I understand it's a business, and he did the same thing when he was in Arizona, when he went to Houston, and then came here. A lot of people thought he was done when he came here, and obviously he kind of shut up a lot of the naysayers. So I completely understand whatever he has to do because it's a business. But I definitely just tell Chiefs fans just to be prepared for everything. It's just free agency. It's a business, and you just never know for sure.
I think that's tough because we've seen it before. My favorite player will always be Eric Berry, and we saw what happened when we gave that. We saw what happened when we gave that dude that contract, and nothing against him, man, but we see what an aging, really kind of what he was going through, and not saying the Honey Badger's doing that, but the Honey Badger has had both knees fixed up. He's had some issues. He's on the other side of 30 now. It's tough because that's like my second player, man. When he got drafted to the Cardinals, my heart absolutely just dropped because I'm like, there had to have been a way that the Chiefs could have got him, but obviously that didn't happen. So, but man, it's tough because like you said, Lucas, you have to understand it's a business, and it's like, man, that's tough because I want everyone to come back, but I have to realize that, and then I started thinking too, like, at what point would you consider trading a Tyreek Hill to get max dollar and then have to continue to move on because, you want to continuously win championships for Patrick Mahomes, but you also want to keep him happy. And maybe Tyreek's a guy that he needs to stick around because that makes Patrick happy. And it's like, man, this is tough. Like, I feel for Brett Veach too, because and this is something that I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on too. Until really this year for me, his drafting ability has been subpar. Like, I would say C to C plus grade is for me, just because like I feel like we've not really drafted the best. And I'm not saying like Juan Thornhill hasn't panned out, but we've seen some shakiness from him, obviously with the injury. Kalen Saunders, until maybe this year, has been suspect. We saw the Breland Speaks draft pick, who
Yeah,
I don't even know if that dude's playing football anymore.
man, is he?
Yeah, so that's where my kind of like, and I get they say drafts are crapshoots, but man, like I feel like you put enough time, your professional scouts are there. Like I feel you put enough time, you should at least start to hit on some of those, and we're hoping we see that with Trey Smith, and like we're seeing that. But man, like, what are your thoughts on that whole thing? Like, do you think it's smarter to trade and get good assets, or do you think you just continuously load up and just keep going for the boat as much as you can and then rebuild?
Yeah, just and the draft plays a big part into that, so that you led right into it, buddy. It's just you really got to find a way to can you build it's just like does the cost like outweigh like the reward? So if I got rid of this player, do we have enough depth to where we can provide not get that exact kind of production, but we can add up close to it? So if Reek was gone, do we trust our receivers now to be able to still produce? I think most people around Kingdom would say no. So that's a guy that we don't want to see go anywhere. Obviously, Orlando just got here, so we're going to see how he plays this year, and we can negotiate that deal. I think we could probably get him at a discount. Obviously, but if he has an amazing year, then he's going to want to get paid. So we'll see how that goes. The Tyrann Mathieu is the one that I know he wants to be here. I know he doesn't want to leave Chiefs Kingdom, but like you just said, you're on the other side of 30. Teams take that into account. They're probably gonna ask you to take a discount because you already played for the team. You already want to be here. His agent's going to take that as a consideration. They're going to talk about it, and I think they're obviously going to look at other offers and just hear what's out there. Because if somebody offers you the house, you can't really turn it down. Like especially if we win it up. If we win it all this year, that changes a lot of projections for a lot of these players. 2 Super Bowl rings on your roster. Now it's time to go get paid.
Yeah.
You have the championships to solidify your resume, especially a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. We think is a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate for him to see him doing it to somebody else's jersey, but I completely understand what's going on. Would I trade Tyreek? I wouldn't trade him just because like this would be a completely different scenario if we would have I know a lot of people are mad, why didn't we take DK Metcalf, or why didn't we trade for some other guys? Like, so I know like if we had him, that would change a lot of different things about how we would move in the future. But I think Tyreek has to stay because he's just, like I said, he's a juice to the offense, man. He makes that pop. Like he puts fear in defenders' heads and DB's heads. Like when he's running across the field, you have to respect that. So, and not to say our offense would be good without him, but with him is unstoppable just because like, it's just something you can't. There's nothing like him. There's nothing like Tyreek Hill in the National Football League. And not to knock down Tyrann Mathieu, he's obviously, in my opinion, the best safety in football. But there's always young, hungry, really good safeties that come into the league. If Juan doesn't hurt his knee, we're having a completely different conversation right now about Juan Thornhill.
Most definitely.
We would probably feel more comfortable if push came to shove, Tyrann had to leave. We'd be like, okay, we got Juan, Armani, and other guys that are ready to step up. So, yeah, it's just like it's about your scouting department. You got to hit on some, and like I think Brett's done a decent job. I would give him like a B minus like for the guys he's hit on. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great either. Obviously, the Meeks one hurt, but obviously like Mahomes was kind of like, well, that's kind of like both guys. That wasn't really like, it was an obvious one, so it wasn't like the diamond in the roughs are the ones that we're talking about. So like the Snead one is looking really good. Obviously, everybody wants to see Juan turn into the guy he's supposed to be. We're sad that we keep talking about injuries, which sucks because all these guys can play. But Willie, I really think Willie's going to break out, man. But he has to just get on the field. So hopefully, and I think a lot of these guys we're going to see a lot this year. If it pans out, these guys are going to prove Brett right and make him look good in a lot of the Chiefs fans' eyes. So I think he's hit on some guys. He's missing some guys. I'm like, obviously, like he's one of the best GMs in the league to me because he's obviously had to figure out a way to make it work and to get every guy signing. Dealing with egos is a big part of the job. As much as everyone wants to say drafting, managing guys and making them believe, hey, this is why you should stay because we're building something special is a big part of being a general manager. So as much as it is about money and cutting the checks, getting with these guys, meeting their families, having relationships, making them believe, okay, if I take less money, I believe him when he says we're going to go win a championship. So it's definitely a tough spot. It's the tough part of the business. And when you win, it makes it even harder. So it's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for sure because most people have us in the Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah, and I think you can say like guys like Andy Reid, and there's obviously others that are players, coaches. Exactly. I believe 100% that Brett Veach is a player's GM, and I think that like you just said too, like hey, man, we may not be able to throw, the whole bag at you, but I can tell you we're going to be going towards the championship. And if you're interested in that, then join this team. And
Exactly.
I think that, like you see him when Orlando Brown gets to town, man, the first thing they do is they dap it up and like, he's like, what's up, man? And like, I think that right there just speaks to who Brett Veach is. And I think that's exciting. And I'm pumped for the future, man. I think that they're going to get some stuff worked out. I just think I would be interested to see if they threw eventually 4 years at 75, maybe 50 guaranteed to the Honey Badger if he would bite.
That's a decent. Most of the safeties right now are getting around like 70 mil. I think who was it? What did Jamal Adams just get? I think it was 72.
Something like that. And then it's one of the other ones, the one up in Minnesota just signed too, and I think he was like 70.
Yeah. God, what's his name? Sleep. Jesus Lord, I just looked at his name. I'm having drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having one of them nights.
The Notre Dame kid. God, I can't think of his name. But no, there's a lot of good safeties that got paid. Justin Simmons, I think, is the second highest paid because Jamal's the highest paid now. Buda Baker got a nice deal.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
around that 68 to 72 is what a top safety is going for right now. So, and I'm sure they'll work it out as far as like, do you want more of like, is it the long term deal? Does he want more guaranteed? And we don't know what he's thinking because that's him and his agent. Like what are they thinking about? So it's always like 4 years for 75 would be great. I would like that deal. But maybe he may want more guaranteed money, maybe more a longer deal, so we don't know. So, or maybe more security. It's definitely a tough thing because we're not in the head of Tyrann Mathieu. We don't know what he's thinking, like him and his own family situation. So, we all want him here. Obviously, it's just gonna be it's gonna be a Brett Veach is gonna earn his money this offseason, regardless of how our season ends. To keep building this team, like you said, is a very, very, very tough job. And I think people don't realize how hard it is especially when you're winning. And we're in
Yeah.
the market, so we don't really can't like throw all this extra money at people like Jerry Jones and go over the cap all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's really some question marks coming up next season because we drafted Nick Bolton for a reason. So is Anthony Hitchens gonna,
Yep,
be completely gone, or would he be willing to take some type of cut to even stick around?
exactly.
And then you got, like you said, we got to pay Orlando Brown, and we attempted to go get Juju. Like, would that be something we would even be considering? This coming off season, because clearly we definitely need a two. Like, I think that is undeniable that we need a number two receiver. But does Mecole step up? Does Fountain step up? I think it's going to be exciting to see, and I'm just this is what it's about, man. This is what it's about, and this gives us the ability to talk about this stuff. So that's what's awesome, man.
Facts.
So, well, man, CJ, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. This I hopefully we can do this again as the season goes on, man. And like I said,
aftermath too. You got to come on ours. I got you.
Hell yeah, man. I'm definitely super excited to meet you in person too. We got to meet up at the game, man. I just want to introduce myself in person and get to know you a little bit better, on maybe throw back a few or something. So
for me already.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. I jumped into it too hot. Before we wrap this up, man, where can everybody find you on Twitter and give them some information about you a little bit?
At Twitter, I am at CJEEZY81, CGZ81. That and follow me on at the Aftermath KC. That's my podcast I do with me and my co-host Christopher Timpany. I know I'm definitely gonna hit him up, see if I can get him out there too, so we can all get a joint photo. So, but yeah, definitely hit me up on Twitter for any questions, suggestions, anything you want to give me, like advice, adjustments, talk football, Chiefs. I'm always down to do a lot of things. If you want to talk fantasy football, whatever. So I'm always down to help with anything. So.
No, man, you just told me that. Now we definitely got to have you back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I'm in like 7 leagues. I will have to get some advice.
I got 3 this year.
I do have
like 4.
I got a funny story to tell you real quick because now that you brought that up, man. So I'm in a 16-team dynasty league. There's contracts, there's salaries, and
we do that too. Yep.
Yeah. So I got shafted because I put all my money into like my individual defense. So like you get individual players too. And I put all defense, a lot of receivers. So I was like, I'm gonna go light on quarterback, and I was like, I'm gonna trade for Cam Newton.
Bro, you ain't. I had him in my dynasty league too, but see, I had a fallback I picked up, I don't know how this happened in my league. I picked up Trey Lance off the waivers and Justin Fields. I don't know how. I think everybody in our league is kind of scared that they're not going to play this year. I'm like, I picked up both of them just in case whenever Mac Jones eventually took over. I didn't expect that to be week 1. So I'm like, dang, now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But I ended up just picking up Matt Stafford off waivers, just throwing him in there just for now. But no, yeah, it's that kind of threw me out of nowhere. But I mean, I understand it because of the whole vaccination situation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and then I ended up, because there was nobody to pick up because this is 16 teams and everybody has that backup, man. I had to trade for Teddy freaking Bridgewater.
Teddy 2 gloves?
Yeah.
Hey, at least he got our receivers though.
No, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. My only concern is that we get a little bit too aggressive and throw some interceptions. So, but I mean, that's
he's a conservative one now. Drew Lock was starting, I would say, and I like Drew because he's from the city, so I'm rooting for him. But he gets a little too aggressive at times. Teddy's kind of like more okay, run the offense, distribute the ball. I think you'll be fine. 16-team leagues are always tough, man. I've been in one in a couple of years, and you really got to deep dive and find all the fun. I usually like stop at 12 or 14. These are deep as I go. 16, that's a grown man's league. So I got all the respect for you, bro. You braver than me. I was like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been incredible. I look forward to the next time already. And yeah, man, this is going to be absolutely amazing to see this season go. As you guys know how I wrap up these episodes, I appreciate you checking out the Beat of KC. And as always, have a good day.